Hello and welcome to Writing on Games. With E3 feeling like a bit of a damp squib this year, I decided to do my usual and chance a media pass to the next best thing, Gamescom, held much closer to home in Cologne, Germany. While its wildly, and I mean wildly, increased attendance numbers compared to E3 presented a lot of similar problems to those I detailed in my video on that show last year, namely that I still don't know how it's a good deal to pay for the privilege of being told that the lines for games are full, Gamescom's much needed inclusion of a media-only day allowed me to see and play way more interesting things than I had the opportunity to in LA, and honestly made me question why, outside of the amount of time that E3 has been around, Gamescom isn't viewed more widely as the bigger event in the gaming calendar. People might still be getting their hands on maybe 1 or 2 games a day, but the sheer unexpected grandeur of it all, combined with far lower ticket prices and extended running hours in relation to E3, meant that there was at least a palpable party atmosphere in the endless ocean of bodies at Germany's show, compared to LA's constant underlying sense of stress and option paralysis. The vibe that E3's identity as an industry event is somehow sullied by the presence of the public is something you just don't get here, represented perfectly in the fervour with which Germans will react to a guy dressed as a cow throwing out copies of Farming Simulator 2017. Having now attended both shows, E3 now feels like an event designed to report on the industry. Gamescom, as experienced by the public, feels like a means of celebrating it. That said, as I stood at many points on the media day reflecting on how the hell I, with my daft YouTube channel, were now viewed as press, the show proved more interesting as an observation into the ever-evolving workings of the industry, rather than the decidedly fantastic games I got my hands on. How the definition of media has morphed over the years, what that means for how companies now present their wares at conventions like these, and the dumbos like me absorbing it all. It all spawned from an odd anxiety I began to notice upon killing time in Activision's business area where my Black Ops 4 appointment was held, that would permeate my experience of the show as a whole. As I found from my limited experience in similar situations going to appointments at last year's E3, skipping the lines to be looked after by PR, being a guest of the company in that kind of environment is something I don't think I'll ever get used to. There's something really uneasy about it. You, as someone merely writing about these daft games you're seeing, are in amongst the big business dogs securing those sweet deals, bringing to mind nothing if not Al Pacino or Alec Baldwin from Glengarry Glen Ross, rather forcefully affecting some kind of playful relationship with the out-of-place game developers, themselves trying to assert some level of business-like dominance that clearly doesn't come naturally to them. They finally made it to a point of relative importance, while their deer-in-headlights faces suggest they'd rather be anywhere else. And from a critic's perspective, there's something about asking for a drink from the bar and expectantly reaching into your wallet only to be greeted with a confused look from the server, as if to say, of course this is free, don't you know that? When out of nowhere, the same suit and tie dude clicks his fingers and demands a round for him and his so-called buddies. It's a side of the industry that you always kind of imagine is there, but one that's no less weird to see play out in the flesh. It might sound silly, but you kind of have to have your wits about you. These people are trying to give you the best experience possible, to provide the friendliest face they can to get you on side, to get you writing the nicest words, giving them the biggest percentage of your game that they can get. It's a machine, and as a critic of some description, you've got to do your best to distance yourself from that. And honestly, as we later went to our behind closed doors Cyberpunk 2077 demo, some similar thoughts ran through my mind. CD Projekt Red's approach to unveiling its upcoming title have been as beneficial to its ridiculous hype train as much as it has arguably had the potential to derail it. On the one hand, the media whirlwind they've successfully created feels like a throwback to a time before democratized video production, one in which the old hierarchy still stands, that whatever the hell qualifies as media nowadays is more important than the plebs, and it does so by subverting the notion that companies can just market directly towards their consumers now. It's a seemingly archaic approach, but one that's gotten people talking about this mysterious thing in a way that you haven't really seen since the days of print journalism, the relevance of which was joked about by the dude walking us through our live demo as he knowingly glanced at some newspapers. Don't worry journalists, everything's okay in our future, ringing violently against the dystopic hellscape they'd crafted. On the other hand though, its mystery has led a lot of people to believe that this is some new type of game they're developing, that this will revolutionise the way we think of the medium. And as we came out of the demo, one of my prevailing thoughts was that they should probably show this soon, lest theories on what this game actually is reach No Man's Sky levels. And of course there's very little danger of that. The game looks incredible, of course it does, but it also looks like Deus Ex meets GTA. Perhaps one of the best possible versions of that mixture I could have possibly envisioned, but it's just that. It's fairly easily defined. And with that, part of me perhaps cynically began to think that the sheer amount of hype garnered around Cyberpunk was evidenced by the area we were led into prior to the presentation. You know, it might have been built to look like one of the game's own dingy streets, graffiti might have said playful things like fuck DRM, they may have put on a friendlier face, but functionally it served exactly the same purpose as Activision's sterile business suite. The drinks were still free. People took a million selfies with their quote-unquote personal invitations. As we were led in, we were each given a massive figure of the woman from the first demo that the people surrounding us were oohing and eyeing over. Again, a throwback to when swag was a thing at these conventions. You're made to feel special, you're specifically given preferential treatment to those that paid to be there, but crucially, you're given access. Something the majority of journalists haven't seen for some time, and something the new guard of so-called influencers have maybe never had. It's made to feel important because it's so hush-hush, and as a result of you getting to see it, you're made to feel important. You build it up in your head. If they're being this secretive about it when so many other companies are showing everything about their games a million years in advance, this must be something truly special, right? And don't get me wrong, you've seen the footage now, it looks amazing, I legitimately can't wait to play it. It's just that nothing about the way it was presented to us made me feel any less weird about saying that as a critic. Let me put it this way, when everyone else was fawning over their new statues, thanking the team for their amazing treatment they were receiving, all I could think was, thanks for giving me some daft thing I need to carry around the show floor like a total prick now. Also, how the hell am I going to get this bulky thing home? The person I was with ended up giving theirs away for free. It's all unnecessary when the game looks this good. Overall, it was remarkable how at Gamescom, despite the improvements over E3 in terms of allowing goons like me to get our quote-unquote work done by playing more of the games on a media-only day, I came away with a lot of the same anxieties I felt as I came away from last year's show in LA. What had I really done to deserve this objectively better treatment, especially seeing as I wasn't paying to be there? What is there really for the public at these conventions besides the atmosphere of being in a place so celebratory of the medium? How do I fit into whatever the hell media is defined as now? And I feel I need to reiterate this because I'm coming off as weirdly negative here. The games were great. Sekiro is shaping up to be my favourite Souls-type game. Spider-Man was neat, and Kingdom Hearts seems very solidly made, if absolutely inscrutable. It's just that, as amazing an opportunity as it was to be at the conference whose trajectory seems pointed directly upwards, breaking records every year, as good as the games were, and as genuinely excited as I am for people to get their hands on them, perhaps the feeling that lingered the most was that between the business areas and swag and friendly faces, as media evolves and the people within it attend more of these shows in the future, there's as much to be wary of as there is to look forward to. So I hope you enjoyed my video on my experience at Gamescom. Unlike E3 last year, the games I played were legitimately interesting enough that I may actually make another video on them or write something up for the Patreon. But I didn't want this video to be half an hour, so I thought I'd spare you for now. As always, this show is made possible by your unbelievably generous pledges over on Patreon. If you like the videos and feel like you have the means, maybe check it out. Every pledge helps more than you can possibly know. Special thanks go to Mark B. Writing, Rob, Michael Wolf, Artyom Vitsyuk, Tales of Tales, Timothy Jones, Laserpferd, Cole Mendel, Spike Jones, The Nameless Guy, Chris Wright, Dr. Motorcycle, Hamigas, Travis Bennett, Zach Casserly, Samuel Pickens, Tom Nash, Shardfire, Philip Lange, Anna Pimentel, Jesse Ryan, Brandon Robinson, Justin's Holderness, Nico Blakely, Christian Kuhneman, Camel Traffic, Nicholas Ross, and Charlie Yang. And with that, I'm Hamish, and this has been Writing on Games. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.